Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
A report from MPs has called for urgent action to tackle discrimination and employment inequalities suffered by Muslims in Britain. The Women and Equalities Committee says the jobless rate among Muslims at 12.8% is more than twice that of the general population. And it says that Muslim women suffer particular discrimination, as Fatima Manji reports.
They come from diverse ethnic backgrounds, boast different skills and aspire to distinct career paths. Yet all of these women are brought together not just by a shared faith, but also experiences of discrimination in the workplace.
When I am wearing a headscarf, I'm treated as if I don't speak English, as if I'm a bit stupid, as if I don't understand anything.
Being teased about not going to the pub for a drink after work. Why are you teaching a specific subject in light of terror attacks?
And there's been friends who have literally been told, it was for like a finance job or in a bank, they've just been told quite clearly that unfortunately I would hire you, but because you wear a hijab, you won't do well in this field and we can't have you here.
A report by Parliament's Equalities Committee found Muslims suffer the greatest economic disadvantage of any group in society. For Muslim women, it's even worse.
Muslim women, they will face penalties on 3 counts. So as women, as from people from ethnic minority backgrounds and as religious minorities, the kind of the combination of those things will play together to produce an kind of extensive inequality.
Rahana Ali ran workshops here in East London to help women of all backgrounds find work. She found some Muslim women high in aspiration but lacking in confidence.
We were recruiting for the Olympics and we were trying to get lots of people in East London, and they were saying, well, when I wear my uniform, am I allowed to wear my headscarf?
It's really difficult for a lot of women, and really they cannot able to do anything else because this is really a circle several times when you apply the job.
So they get into a cycle of getting knocked back and then they feel they can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
How much is this about traditional families not wanting women to go and work?
If anything, you know, Muslim parents are like, wait, when I turned 16, my parents were like, you need to go and get a job, you need to go and become independent. And all the people that I know, like all the other Muslims and the Muslim parents, were saying the same thing to their kids.
All of these women say they're fed up of stereotypes. Solutions are complicated because of a lack of trust when the government narrative is so often about countering extremism.
If everything is couched in prevent funding or tarnished with that same sort of spectre of counter-extremism, at the base level, communities don't apply for the funding. And so on the off, they're at a disadvantage.
The Equalities Select Committee found this mistrust when gathering evidence.
Some organisations and some individuals found it very difficult to talk to us about their experiences because they were fearful that we were part of a prevent strategy, which they were very mistrustful of. I think the government really needs to separate its important work on counter-terrorism from the work that it's doing to support Muslim people into employment.
These women say they don't want special treatment but a level playing field. And they hope that in 10 years' time, their daughters and the next generation won't still be facing the same battle.
Muslim women are the most economically disadvantaged group in our society, according to a report by MPs today. Official statistics show that 16% of Muslim women are unemployed, compared to 5% of all women, and 58% are economically inactive, compared with 27% of all women. Well, MPs are calling on employers to change the way they recruit staff by removing the names of applicants. They say that's because white-sounding names are more likely to get an interview. Our home editor, Mark Easton, reports from Manchester.
So we're here today to talk about Muslims and the workplace. How hard is it getting a job if you're a Muslim? Are you facing discrimination?
On a community radio station in Manchester, they're asking why Muslims emerge as the most economically disadvantaged group in British society.
It's just the stereotypes that are attached with the Muslim woman wearing a hijab, and maybe she's not an educated woman.
The inequalities are bad for men, but disastrous for Muslim women. Even taking account of education and language skills, Muslim women suffer significantly higher levels of worklessness than women generally, with evidence that employers are illegally discriminating against job applicants in religious dress or with Muslim-sounding names.
We have had reports of people changing the name by deed poll. There are not a lot of examples, I haven't heard of that, but there are examples, and it shocks me.
Changing their names so they can get a job?
Changing the names to something sounding more English, to white British English, yes.
Today, a report from MPs says many Muslim women face a triple penalty of discrimination when trying to get a job. They're women, they're from an ethnic minority, and most significantly, they're Muslim. It refers to a chill factor, where the fear of discrimination and hostility in the workplace is putting off many Muslim women from applying for a job. I met a 21-year-old Muslim graduate who told me how, after telephone interviews for a sales job, she was told she was perfect. But when she turned up for the face-to-face interview, the whole mood changed.
I mean, I was completely the same as I was on the phone, answering very similar questions, but I felt that there was a bit of a change in the tone as when I came in, and I was the only other person there in the group that had a headscarf on.
Do you think that's changed your attitude to job interviews generally?
It can be nerve-wracking already when you're going for a face-to-face interview, but then to have that kind of added sort of worry that what they're going to think once they see me.
Muslim women face really unacceptable levels of discrimination, but that discrimination comes from the workplace, from employers, but also from within communities as well, almost like a stereotyping of the role that Muslim women should take.
Support groups like this work to counter the isolation some Muslim women feel. Although more are choosing careers, their traditional role remains domestic. They're 4 times more likely to be looking after home and family as women generally.
The Muslim woman is seen to be the homemaker, the person who stays at home, looks after the kids, brings, does all the housework, is like the housewife. Now the Muslim girls, they want to go into education, higher education, and they want to do that, they want to have careers.
The government says progress is being made, but concedes there's much more to do. Mark Easton, BBC News, Manchester.
I've been